Motherfucking fatty liver and shit. Well, lately I've been researching motherfucking fatty liver because I have a fatty liver. I can see it plain as day. If you watch my little vlog where I fucking rode the boosted board, you can see right where my liver is a roll of shit. And that roll tends to expand and contract based largely on my feast and famine cycle that I do with ADF. But it's been the target of a lot of my, current protocols. A lot of people get to the level of weight loss I've gotten to, the low 190s, after being 255, and they're like, oh, I look skinny enough. And I do. My face is kind of thin, and my arms, you can see veins and shit. My legs, the same thing. I do have some loose skin action at the bottom of my fucking ass, which sucks. But, I live with it. It's fine. And, I got some loose skin action in the belly area when it's not bloated from fucking water weight or whatever the fucked up foods I just ate. Now, I do realize, I'm not dumb, that in order to fully reverse my fatty liver, I would need to quit alcohol and quit fucking sugar. Go full on keto, stay keto, and do that the rest of my life. So why in the fuck don't you do that, you fucking dickhead? Well, it turns out I am addicted to sugar. No matter how many times I try and keto adapt, no matter how many times I quit, I keep going back to the fountain of fucking sugar because it's a goddamn drug. I do enjoy it. I know it's bad for me. I know what I'm doing, and I'm able to moderate a lot more than I used to because of my knowledge, my head knowledge. But my willpower just isn't there. I've tried and tried and tried and fucking tried over a 2.5 year period to go and stay keto. I've tried to outfast it, which I currently am kind of doing. I'm in the regards that I'm not going up. I do believe I've reached a new plateau of 190 pounds. That seems to be the lowest I can get. If I go lower than that, I get fucking way hungrier at the end of the fast, and I end up regaining weight. This morning, I weighed in at 194.9 because of my 36-hour eating window. And I took it fairly easy. There were carbs. I did have pasta during that. But I kept the sugar to a minimum, And I'll do an eating video at some point to kind of show you what my eating window looks like for the 36 hours. It's basically a 36-hour window where I try to eat intuitively, and I try and focus on ketogenic style foods, lots of fat, lots of protein, well, not moderate protein, but sometimes I go a little overboard on the protein, I'll admit. When you eat fucking 15 chicken wings, you're going to get more protein than you need for the day. So, I focus on that. And I do find that my waist measurement, which was 36.75, didn't move the needle much on the waist measurement during my eat. Sometimes when I eat really bad, that shit goes up to 37.5, 38 in some cases. During the binge, a couple days after the binge, it shot back up, but then dropped back down. It tends to, if I do a longer fast to make up for days like that, I spend a hell of a lot of time pissing out water because the body seems to retain water for a certain period of time until you fast it off, until you shut that shit down, and then you start rejecting the water. So these are all fucking things I do. And I don't get alarmed anymore at the scale because I know that that's water weight. And you just have to understand that. The scale is an indicator when you're fucking up. If you're gaining a lot of water weight, that means you ate a lot of foods that cause you to retain water, namely standard American diet shit. And you will. And you will probably retain a little bit more water at first than you would if you had not been in a fasting, feasting cycle. Because the body does panic and, causes you to hold on to water a lot more, especially if you're not hydrating properly during your fast and so on and so forth. But the body, it's a knee-jerk reaction, and it does level off, and it levels off whether you're ketogenic or, because when you first go ketogenic, you dump all the water weight, but then you'll gradually put on a few pounds of water weight because your body needs a place to put the electrolytes, the salt, potassium, magnesium, and that's mainly stored in intercellular fluid, water. So if you're not holding on to a lot of water weight, you're going to get cramps. Or if you're not holding on to enough water weight, you're going to have cramps. You're going to have issues of fatigue and so on and so forth, and could even have more severe symptoms if you become severely dehydrated, which is very important to stay hydrated while ketogenic. However, when you're eating the standard American diet, you're holding on to an excess of fluid, which means you can overconsume salt. You can throw your electrolytes out of balance the other way, and that causes all kinds of problems. High blood pressure, stroke, that kind of shit can, be helped along by having excess water weight and therefore being able to overconsume salt. Anyone who's been fully keto adapted knows that you can overconsume salt, and you should be liberal with salt because you are not retaining as much salt. The body does normalize over time, and you don't need to overcompensate, but during the adaptation period, you tend to fall a little low on the electrolyte spectrum. But after a while, it normalizes and you feel fine. You retain enough water to hold on to what your body needs on a day-to-day basis for electrolytes. So I got completely sidetracked there. We're talking about fucking fatty liver here. And I've been looking into fatty liver, and I've noticed a few disturbing things. One of the things I did was go to see what are the doctors saying. When you go to the medical establishment and with a fatty liver, what do they fucking tell you to do about it, and what do they think caused it? And the disturbing thing that I came across was motherfucking WebMD, a bunch of other, general practicing fucking doctors basically don't know for sure where it comes from, or they're blaming it on diabetes and, people who are overweight and obesity and metabolic syndrome. So basically they're taking one symptom, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and blaming it on another symptom, when it all is stemming from the same fucking problem. People overconsume sugar, not carbs, sugar, and overload their liver with fructose. Fructose over a certain amount, you can tolerate a lower, like an apple, a piece of fruit with some fiber that slows absorption. Yes, you can have fructose that way. But when you drink a goddamn Coca-Cola, you are overloading your fucking liver with fructose. When you eat that pastry, when you're eating something that has like 20, 30, sometimes 50, 60 grams of sugar or high fructose corn syrup, high fructose or fuctose, motherfuckers, corn syrup in it, you are essentially drinking your liver. Your liver does the same thing with alcohol that it does with sugar. All right? It's the same. To your liver, it's all the same. It's the same fucking processes are triggered by fructose as alcohol. The difference being that if you overconsume alcohol, you're probably either going to drop dead from alcohol poisoning, or you're going to vomit, or you're going to throw up, or you're going to pass out. But with sugar, you just keep doing it nonstop, over and over and over again. Every couple hours, you're stuffing some fucking sugary shit in your mouth and then wondering why you suffer metabolic diseases. Now, a lot of people blame fat people for this. It's not just fat motherfuckers having fatty livers. I see it all the time. I know to look for it. I know what area of the body gets the little hump. And I see skinny motherfuckers walking around with the hump. And a lot of them are young, so that really hasn't really kicked them in the nuts yet. But it will over time if they continue to punish their liver. And some people are drinking on top of this, which just compounds it. That's probably the biggest problem. That's probably why I cannot reverse my fatty liver completely. I can knock out all the fat. I know how to do that. A long water fast or a ketogenic diet with long water fast mixed in, sprinkled in, will eventually burn off the fat that's stuck in the liver. Won't reverse the cirrhosis or any other issues. Won't do much. It'll combat the inflammation, which is another thing that can happen. But what does the fatty liver really do? Is it a symptom? Is it a problem? It is a symptom of insulin resistance, particularly hepatic liver insulin resistance. When your liver requires more insulin to do its job than it normally does. The cells in the liver. So, and this is, of course, leads to the freight train of obesity, diabetes, heart disease. Fat motherfuckers get all the fucking attention. But I know just as many normal body weight motherfuckers, people in the normal BMI range who have these same metabolic issues, strokes, fucking heart disease. It's not all fat fucks, all right? Skinny fucks are getting this too and should be just as concerned. Athletes pounding sugar over and over again, thinking that because they look good and their muscles are rippling, that they can't have a fucking grabber, that they won't have a fucking stroke. It's just not the case. It's fucking sugar, all right? I don't know how to be any more plain than that, and I don't know why our fucking medical community refuses to acknowledge that. Medical school's not teaching doctors that. Doctors are going out, some of them, and figuring this shit on their own. Dr. Lustig is right on point. He knows exactly what the fuck sugar and fructose does to your body, and he's campaigning to get the rest of the medical community and the government on board. The problem is sugar is cheap, highly subsidized, and in just about 80% of the foods in your fucking grocery store, even shit that you think is healthy, is laced with some form of sugar. And of course, we already know they're playing the name game. Agave. It's all part fructose, part glucose, and the fructose can easily overwhelm your liver. It doesn't take much. I would contend anything over 10 grams per serving. And who eats one fucking serving? I don't know. It doesn't seem like a lot. You got a lot of discipline if you're fucking only eating one serving. But 10 grams a serving, I contend, is when your liver's fucking tipping point is on fructose without fiber. And if you're drinking fruit juice, it's squeezed from the fucking healthy goddamn fruit, so it must be fucking good for you. Well, you know what? What you did when you juiced that fruit is you're eating 11 oranges with no fiber. So yeah, you're getting some micronutrients in there, but that doesn't offset the fucking metabolic damage that you are doing to yourself when you overload your liver with fructose. And it's just the way it is. It's the way our body works, and nobody wants to fucking acknowledge it. One fucking site even went so far as to say, motherfucking fat causes fatty liver. Motherfucker. Completely ignoring the fact that alcohol does the same thing, and it is its own macronutrient, by the way, alcohol. And we preferentially burn it off because our body sees it as the threat. So that tells me alcohol is not related to fat, it's related to carbohydrates. If you had to see one that looks like another one, alcohol is pretty much a carb in a sense. But it kind of sets itself apart because the body will store everything else you fucking ate while alcohol's present in your blood because it prioritizes getting rid of the alcohol. And what does it do to get rid of the alcohol? Your liver converts it to fat. Well, guess what? Guess what? Sugar, even the healthy shit, even stuff that came out of a fucking bee's asshole, when you eat too much of it without fiber and ingrained fiber, as in fruit, And you can overdo it on the fruit too, by the way. If you're eating 10 bananas a day, you're not out of the woods as far as overloading your fucking liver is concerned. You know, that's where the problems happen. And it builds your fucking fatty liver. It causes damage over time, cirrhosis. But you're far more likely to drop dead of a grabber before your liver gives way, to be honest, because you're going to start to notice all the metabolic symptoms and you start to build insulin resistance. It generally manifests as you get older, and it's dose dependent. So, like, if you're eating sugar 10 times a day every day, you're more likely to die at an earlier age than somebody that's once a week going out and indulging. You know, it's dose dependent. How often are you doing the shit? And I've drastically reduced how often I'm doing this shit. Just by proxy, just by doing ADF, I'm doing half the amount of sugar and fucking unhealthy foods that a normal motherfucker's doing. So you just gotta kind of keep that in perspective. Know what you're doing. Keep the dose down, which is probably my only hope, is that I can do the fasting necessary to reduce my dosage. I'm never gonna fucking go cold turkey and never drink and never eat keto. I know this about myself. I'm a realistic motherfucker. Things like that do bring me a certain amount of happiness, which I think is just as important to health as being an optimal health motherfucker. Now, I know people who are optimal health motherfuckers, and they are fucking miserable all the time, and they want you to be miserable with them. So they tell you, you can't do that, motherfucker. I'm doing this. I'm healthier. I feel great. I'm fucking great. You know, and they sit there and they go off on you, and you just want to fucking slap them across the face and say, look, motherfucker, I like cookies. All right, I want to eat some fucking cookies. I want to go out and have fucking 4 or 5 drinks and get shit-faced after I eat my fucking cookies. Is that okay with you? Can I have some fun, okay, please? I understand that. I know both sides of the spectrum, and from time to time, I do make pushes to one side or the other. There's times where I just let go and I'm fucking overdo it. And then I go, oh shit, I overdo it, and then I bounce back and hit the fasting hard, keto adapt, or something of that nature. And I'm trying, for my personal goal, not to be optimal health. Obviously, I'm not going to achieve that with the shit I do. But to find the balance between health and happiness. And some would argue that I'm already there. You know, that I've gotten down to 190. I can maintain 190, doing exactly what I do now, you know, for the rest of my life. I could stay at this weight, live with the level of fatty liver I have, realize I'm never going to see some abs action, you know, which is probably not going to be an issue anyway, because if I do lose the fatty liver, if I do reduce the midsection down to like 34 inches or 33 inches, I'm going to have a lot of fucking loose skin in that area. And not to mention, it's going to fill up with water weight whenever I eat fucked up. You know, I bloat visibly. Every motherfucking time I eat sugar and carbs, I bloat. It gets insane, and it drives me nuts. And that's the other thing I want to bring up is, no matter, you know, we need to be careful not to put ourselves in a fucking eating disorder situation, because our brains are always going to remember that we were fat. We're going, you know, whenever you look in the mirror, you're not going to notice the progress you made. You're going to notice the progress you haven't made. And it can lead you down a path of overdoing it, of becoming anorexic. And I am not anorexic by any stretch of the words. When it comes time to fucking eat, I eat like a beast. And that's the difference. Anorexia is when it's a mental condition that of self-image that drives you. And we got to be careful of this, because they'll do this for the wrong reasons. I did this for health. Look at me. Do I look like I'm fucking trying to look good? I'm not. I just fucking shaved my head yesterday because I'm going bald. I got fucking gray hairs all through my fucking scraggly beard. I am not manicuring myself to attract the opposite sex anymore. I am just fucking trying to live my life in a way where I won't get that quality of life that people that have pounded these standard American diet their whole life, ate tons of sugar, and they spend 20 years of their older years suffering as a result. I don't want that. That is what I'm avoiding. I'm going to suffer a little because I consume a little of the fucked up foods. And I can combat it with the appropriate amount of fasting. And that's the same with fatty liver. Fatty liver can be reversed. It can. It would involve quitting alcohol. It would involve quitting sugar. Not easy to do, especially if you're a vegan. Fucking a ketogenic diet would allow you to do that because by proxy, you're not allowed to eat the sugar that you would normally eat. You still get a little bit, but you are not going to overwhelm your liver with sugar on a ketogenic diet. It's not possible. Even if you overconsume protein, you're converting that to glucose. There's no fructose involved in that situation. And fructose is the demon that attacks the liver, not glucose. You know, yeah, you make a lot of fat from carbs, but you make a lot of bad fat from fructose. So if you're overdoing it on the fruit even, you know what I'm saying? You can easily overload your liver with fructose. It can be done, even in fibrous fruits if you're eating too much of those. There's a reason they call it nature's motherfucking candy. You don't need to eat fucking 10 apples, 12 bananas, a fucking pound of blueberries, all right? You sprinkle a little bit of the blueberries in with your fat and you got a nice little dessert. If you sit there for a half hour and you know, eat all kinds of fruit, or big-ass bowls of fruit, you're going to overwhelm your liver. And yeah, you may still lose weight and be healthy looking, but the more you do that, over time, your liver will succumb to fatty liver disease as you get older. Now, if you're in your 20s, don't talk shit, all right? Because you're not there yet. You can get away with a whole lot still. And even I would contend a lot of 20-year-olds aren't getting away with it. Because I look around, I see a lot of millennials and a lot of young folks that I cart around in the back of that fucking Uber who are doing all the wrong things. And yeah, they look healthy enough, but you can see some signs that it's going to go rotten for them in their 30s. If they keep going and doing what they're doing. People are getting a little smarter, you know. I have noticed that, you know, events in photography, when I go out and I see like cake and all of that, people are like, no cake for me. You know, and yeah, that's great that you're demonizing cake, but then they go to the goddamn Whole Food store and load up on some fruity ass yogurt filled with sugar, 30 something grams per serving. And because it's yogurt, it has fruit in it, it's fucking healthy. No. There's only really one type of healthy yogurt, and that's full-fat Greek yogurt. All right? No sugar at all added to it. It does have, you know, lactose or that kind of sugar, but there's no fructose in that. That's all glucose-based. So you do get a little bit of glucose in your full-fat Greek yogurt. And then you can add some berries to it and get your little bit of dose of fructose without overloading your liver. But it's all about liver overload. Fructose in and of itself isn't necessarily in small dose. Like, it's drink one drink. If you drink one drink, it might even actually, there's evidence that suggests that's healthy for you. If you just go to the bar and have one drink, well, it's the same with fructose. If you just have one little piece of cake, you know, a quarter of the fucking portion size that most places give you nowadays, then you're fine. You're not going to overload your liver. But if you eat the big mound of cake, you're fucked. Or if you eat a yogurt, a modern day low-fat yogurt, because they take the fat out and replace it with sugar. That's right. Fucking sugar. In your goddamn yogurt. In your ketchup. Sugar's in your bread. Sugar's in all kinds of foods. If it's fucking packaged, it probably has fucking sugar in it. If it lasts for months and months and months, it probably has fucking sugar in it. If it says low fat, it probably has sugar in it, which defeats the whole purpose of low fat, because you're going to fucking sit there and you're going to make fat from the sugar in your body. Your body makes the fat, the bad fat. It's also going to cause inflammation in your body. Then your body's not only going to make the bad fat, it's going to send the bad fat to the arteries to plug the inflammation that's spread throughout your fucking body and give you a motherfucking heart attack and fucking heart disease and fucking diabetes and all of these issues, no matter whether you're fat, no matter whether you're thin. There's interesting slides that Dr. Lustig goes over about the amount of normal weight people who have metabolic diseases. And they're just as bad as us fat people. Anyway, that's my rant. Because I got pissed off. I started to sit down and do research for you guys this morning. And I just kept, that's the first thing that greeted me was ignorance from the medical community on the cause of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which has become so prevalent that they're like, what the fuck? Why are all these people that aren't drinking getting non-alcoholic fucking kids? Can't even go out and drink till they're college age and get their fake ID. But still, they fucking can't go out and drink. They're getting non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Why? What's the cause? It must be animals and animal fat doing it. Bullshit. In the 70s, we upped our carbs and sugar. We kept the fat the same. Even though we said we was low fat and shit. No. We've been at the same level of fat consumption the entire time. We haven't increased it. We haven't decreased it. What we did is quadruple the amount of carbs we consume. How often we consume them has also gone up. We went from 3 square meals a day to 6 small meals a day, and we are just cramming carbs and sugar all day long, keeping our insulin up, making that bad fat because we're overwhelming our liver's capacity to deal with fructose, and we are becoming obese. Metabolic syndrome, diabetes, cancer, some would argue, heart disease. All of these issues sprung from our increase in carbohydrates and sugar. And one of the reasons we increased the amount of sugar we consume is because we told the food companies, hey, take all that fat out. Well, you take all the fat out, tastes like shit. Tastes like somebody wiped their ass with it and you put that shit in your mouth. So guess what they do? When you have a food that tastes like ass in its native form, what can you do to make it taste better? Well, we don't want to put fat back in. So let's put some fucking sugar in there. Yeah. And we'll come up with 70-something fucking names for it so you can't tell how much sugar you're really getting. And we'll make the fucking nutrition labels vague on what kind of sugar is what. And we'll make it impossible for a consumer to figure out how much sugar they're really taking in. And if you eat out, you have no fucking idea. You don't know what restaurants add sugar to their shit. And it's a known thing. A fat to sugar ratio hits that little sweet spot in your dopamine, and you just become addicted and want to eat more and more and more. At the same time, throwing all your hormones out of whack so you don't get full, and you just cram that shit in. And then your hormones end up way out of whack. It's a self-sustaining cycle. You start to break shit down in your body, health-wise. Because you're fucking up your insulin resistance on a systemic level at that point. And while you may go out and pound the fuckmaster enough to keep the fat at bay, that's not going to change the underlying insulin resistance that you're causing yourself. All right? You can't out-exercise a bad diet. You can't out-fast a bad diet. You can moderate the dosage, but you're still getting the poison, which I am. I'm still getting the poison. I just down the dosage. I'm having 1 or 2 drinks instead of fucking drinking every day. That's basically what you're doing. And when you lower the dosage, it takes longer to fucking kill you. It's still going to kill you. It's still going to do its damage. It's still going to be cumulative. I would like that fasting could be used to keep it at bay or at least keep it where it's at or maybe even reduce it a little. And I'm experimenting with that. I'm going to do some longer fasts to see if I can reverse the fatty liver and then how quickly it comes back based on the dose that I do consume. And that's been the goal for me the whole time. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. In the link in the description below, I am putting a video that I watched about fatty liver and the types of things that you can do. I don't necessarily agree with all the nutrition information this particular scientist goes over, but I would say This video is a pretty good explanation of it. Another good explanation, I'll also relink this, I've linked this in the past, is The Truth About Sugar. It's a viral video that Dr. Lustig did a while back. He may have refined his vision over the years, but he does explain the biochemistry, the deep down enzymes and processes that happen within the liver when fructose comes in over a certain amount. And he says, eat a piece of fruit. It's the fiber that slows the absorption. So I don't agree 100% with all of his dietary recommendations, but I believe if somebody followed his advice, they'd be a hell of a lot better off than somebody who didn't. But the fuck do I know? Do I look like a goddamn expert? You know, do experts have beards this long? No. I'm just an asshole, all right? Who does, the research, tries shit out on himself, and that's all I'm doing. That's, So, that being said, I'd like to take this time to thank the motherfuckers that are helping me make more videos on this channel than ever before, that are allowing me to, continue to grow and really shine as far as being able to dedicate more time to the channel and the research necessary to make more content for you guys, in addition to doing a few pieces of content for them. You can go to the link in the description, patreon.com/ScottTheTruckDriver. $1 gets you a daily typed blog from me, and $5 gets you a weekly audio podcast that could go anywhere from 30 to an hour to hour and a half. I don't know. It depends on how long I fucking run my mouth for. And, so on and so forth. And the perks will grow. It's a work in progress for me. I just kind of started this out not too long ago, and I'm starting to find there's some things I can get done in a timely manner, and then there's some things that take a fucking while to get done. And I've got a lot going on as far as income streams to try and keep myself afloat in my minimalistic lifestyle. So these are the people that are helping me survive and be able to take the time out of my day, because I'm going to go drive fucking Uber while this video is rendering and uploading today. I'm going to go out and work probably a full shift of Uber because I got some things I need to pay for. So, that's kind of what I have to do. I have to balance. And Dave and MSP is a producer. That's the $20 level, and he has been a very good, staunch supporter. He comments a lot on Patreon, and he also helps a lot with, pointing me in directions as far as, research and someone like that and stuff like that. So I hear a lot from him. But I tend to interact there's not a lot of patrons right now, so I'm able to keep up with everybody. So I do know that if that grows over time, it will become more difficult, and I'll have to focus on the higher tiers more than the smaller tiers. But it is a good place that's coming up. The $10 tier and above, I do believe is going to get the, I have to look. I didn't look. But it's the higher tiers are going to get a live stream just for them, so that I can interact on a more personal basis with the people that help keep this dream going, keep this whole channel going, and help me help other motherfuckers wake up to the things that are fucked up in our diet, lifestyle, and food, and basically life itself. So these guys are helping me out. Also, Robertino Jesse Lopez, thank you for being a producer. I don't hear much from you on here. So you're just kind of like the silent producer. But that's cool. You're still helping me produce more content for the channel, and I hope you enjoy what you're helping with. And also Matt Denman, the sponsor of the channel, which I thank you again for everything you do. I haven't heard from you in a little bit, but that's all right. We're going to try and interact. We're going to have our live show, and we'll continue to grow this thing. And I also want to thank all my executive producers and associate producers and contributors, because everything helps. All right. Everything you guys are doing, it helps. And if you aren't a contributor, you can, of course, just watch, like, and subscribe. And that helps too. That does. We are growing. The numbers have been growing steadily, slowly but steadily. But you know what? It's not a fucking sprint. It's a marathon. I would much rather grow more organically than go viral and then have people drop off. I want people that are going to come to the channel and stay in the community and that benefit from the things we discuss and the topics we tackle and maybe get entertained by my vloggy shit every now and then too. So thank you everyone on Patreon. I appreciate everything you guys have done. I will be working on the podcast tomorrow for my patrons, so there probably won't be another video tomorrow. But I might get to some filming over the weekend to try and put out a few extra videos. I realize video content was a bit light this week because I've been busy with other things at this time to try and keep myself afloat, survival and shit. So thanks. If you are new to the channel, please like and please subscribe and tell your friends who might benefit from some of the shit I talk about, or at least get them into the free thinking mode to where, we don't just take for granted everything we hear, where we question everything and we go out and find out what the truth is. In some cases, we have to experiment on ourselves to figure that out. But at least we're thinking. We're not just letting the media and the government tell us what to fucking do. All right? We're out there saying, okay, I heard you. Okay, I heard you. Okay, I heard you. And we say, well, I've heard enough people say this in different walks of life that maybe I should try this. And then you give it a try and you see it fucking works. And then you're like, oh. And then that's how we grow organically as a more healthy, worldwide community. Because this isn't just a United States problem. This problem is all over the fucking world. Some places worse than the United States. There's some countries that drink so much soda that they've skyrocketed their fucking diabetes rate because they drink it because their water supply's fucked. Can't get good fucking clean water, but you can get some goddamn Pepsi and Coke. Yeah, that makes sense. Have a nice motherfucking day. And shit.